Good evening. This September the 16th, 2025 Board of Aldermen meeting is hereby called to order. Just remind everyone who may speak tonight that this is live streamed on the city's YouTube channel and also archived for playback. I would like to invite and thank Dr. Stan May of Emmanuel Baptist Church for being with us tonight to lead our invocation, and followed by that I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. If y'all please stand.
Thank you for the honor of being here. We're going to pray together. I'm going to read a verse of Scripture that will lead my prayer time. The Bible says that Jehoshaphat, who was the king of Judah, dwelt at Jerusalem. Then he set judges in the land throughout all the fortified cities of Judah, city by city, and said to the judges, "Take heed to what you are doing, for you do not judge for man, but for the Lord who is with you in the judgment. Now therefore, let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Take care to do it, for there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, no partiality or taking of bribes." The fear of the Lord means that we will give an account to God one day, and it ought to guide every decision that we make today. Let me pray. Father, I thank you for today. Thank you for the honor and the privilege that it is to come to the presence of the living God, the God who made the heavens and the earth and all that is in them, the God to whom one day we will give an account. We thank you, Father, that instead of giving us the judgment that we deserve because of our sin, you sent your Son, the Lord Jesus, to take the penalty for our sins, to die for us on the cross, to forgive us of our sins, and to rise from the dead. And we thank you that you accepted his sacrifice and raised him from the dead. We thank you that because he lives, we live also, and we have hope. And so today we pray for our city, and we pray for our nation. Lord, we cry out to you for our nation, that you would do a gracious and good work in our nation. We pray for comfort to the Kirk family, for grace and peace, and for reconciliation and healing, Lord. We pray that you would do good things. We pray, Lord, that you would bless our state. Lord, we pray for Tate and Ellie Reeves and the girls. And we pray, Lord, that you would give him wisdom to lead our state. And we pray, Lord, for Mayor Adams, that you would give him wisdom to lead our city. And Lord, we thank you for our aldermen, Lord. We pray you bless them. I pray for George Collins, Lord, and I pray for Gil Earhart and for Pat Hamilton and Don Gamage, Lord, and for David Wallace and Jan Aldridge, Lord, and for Dale Dickerson. And I pray, Father, that it would please you to guide our aldermen and our city. I pray that you would guide our mayor. I pray that you would protect them. You would give them wisdom to lead. I pray you would remind them they will give an account to you. So I pray you would lead them with justice and righteousness. I pray that you would give them vision for the best plans for this city. And Lord, I pray you give them the grace to be able to reject short-term solutions that bring long-term consequences. Pray you would give them wisdom to lead our city well. I thank you for them. And I pray today that this meeting would bring you the glory that you deserve, and that on the big day, that what we do today, we would not be ashamed on that day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated. Ms. Stewart, would you conduct roll call?
Aldridge. Here. Collins.
Here.
Dickerson.
Here.
Earhart.
Here.
Gamage.
Here.
Hamilton. Here. Wallace.
Here.
Thank you, everyone present. So obviously a quorum has been established. Thank you again, Pastor May, for leading the invocation. If you'll give me one moment, I'm going to relocate. It is certainly an honor and privilege to recognize Ms. Harrington, Ms. Sadie Vaughn Harrington. If you want to come forward with me, that'd be great. If not, either way. It is my pleasure to be a part of this, and I got an opportunity to have dinner at the same table with you a couple of weeks ago for Mr. Phillips' 60th year at Brantley Funeral Home. 65. Got to get credit for that. All of them. You deserve them. You earned them. So we had a dinner and just had a good discussion. And the board reminded me, and so did Jay Nichols, that this is a special day in your life. You're celebrating your 100th birthday. Right. Isn't that awesome? In celebration of her 100th birthday on September the 16th, 2025, I, Kenneth R. Adams, Mayor, and the Board of Aldermen, as the City of Olive Branch, proudly honor this remarkable life and legacy of Miss Sadie Vaughn Harrington. Born in Lewisburg, Mississippi, on September the 16th, 1925, to Preston and Emma Vaughn, Miss Harrington has lived a century filled with love, dedication, and service to her family, her community, and her faith. Miss Harrington shared 44 years of wonderful marriage to the late Douglas Harrington, the first police chief for the City of Olive Branch. And together they built a family rooted in strength and service to their community. Miss Harrington is the proud mother of 2 sons, Dwayne Harrington of Germantown, Tennessee, and Darrell Harrington of Foley, Alabama. A trailblazer in her own right, she was the first person from Olive Branch to be hired by Light and Power, where she served with distinction for 15 years. Her commitment to her work and her community has left a lasting impact. As a devoted member of Maples Methodist Church, Ms. Harrington's faith and spirit have inspired all of us who know her. The City of Olive Branch expresses its heartfelt gratitude and admiration as we join her family and friends in celebrating this extraordinary milestone. Happy birthday, Miss Sadie Harrington. Family, would you like to stand so we can recognize you as well? I would say friends, but I know if I say friends, everybody's going to stand up. So thank you for being with us and congratulations. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. One additional board that's not on your agenda. I'd ask for Planning Director Jason Gambone to come forward. Jason has done a remarkable job improving the City of Olive Branch with his planning department. We would like to honor and recognize him. He is going a different direction at the end of this year, and have a recognition certificate for you as well, Jason. In sincere appreciation of your dedicated service to the City of Olive Branch, we hereby recognize and commend your outstanding contributions as Planning and Building Director since November the 17th, 2015. Your leadership, professionalism, and commitment to excellence have left a lasting impact on the planning and development of our community. Coming to Olive Branch from the City of Collierville, where you served as Planning Director for over 6 years, you brought invaluable experience and insight that benefited both city staff and citizens alike. Your years of public service exemplified dedication to the principles of smart growth, civic responsibility, and community development. I, as Mayor, and the Board of Aldermen extend our heartfelt gratitude and best wishes to you for your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Say a word or two?
Yeah, please.
I appreciate, it's been a good 10-year run here. I appreciate the leadership that Mayor Adams has shown and all of the aldermen. I won't always miss the job, I think, but I'm definitely going to miss the people. We have really an excellent planning staff assembled with the city, our code enforcement staff, building, all of the other departments. I'll definitely miss all of the people every day as I move forward. I am going to stay here in Olive Branch, so I told Ms. Pat before the meeting that now when I complain about something in my ward, I don't have to say I'm not speaking as city employee, I'm speaking as private citizen. I'll just come right out and make my complaint to Ms. Pat. But I truly appreciate the 10 years here, and I look forward to seeing you again. I'll be working in the private land development business, so I may be appearing before you at some future point, and hopefully you'll go easy on that. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Board, you have the minutes in front of you from our regular called meeting on September the 2nd, 2025. Any questions, comments, or motions on those minutes? Motion to approve by Mr. Wallace. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Collins. Any questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Following the agenda, you have the consent agenda before you. More administrative in nature, items 1 through 27. If no questions on those items, any motions for them?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Gamage,
Second.
second by Ms. Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Under Planning Commission, item number 1, old business, this is a consideration of application for a final plat for Ainsley Point subdivision. If I understand correct, Mr. Song, this has been tabled for one more opportunity for things to come together and for the engineering gentleman to work with the city and staff, and you're requesting continuous is requested for how long?
He did not provide a specific date. The recommendation is for the board to consider tabling for 1 month to October 21st, 2025. Sorry, not 2024, 2025. Or to table indefinitely. Really, there's been no movement on this application since the last meeting. So he needs some time to work with the engineer, more than just 2 weeks.
So 2 options, table to October 21st or table indefinitely. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here tonight? You have a recommendation on either option, Mr. Song?
October 21st, 2025.
Okay. If the board's so inclined, is there a motion for that?
Mr. Song, I did want to ask this. My thought would be indefinitely until the applicant is ready to make movement, but in your conversations, do you feel like he would be ready to make some progress by October 21st?
I think by October 21st, the risk in always having this indefinitely is you have an application that is kind of like a no man's land
Yes.
out there. And he's had about 3 opportunities already on this, so there is always that element of indefinitely may just be out there forever.
Right.
I think if we have it to the 21st, and then if on that 21st he's not ready, then the board can table it indefinitely at that
Okay.
time. But I think if we give him 1 month, he may take some action. If on the 21st there is nothing, or the board does not find that what he has presented is satisfactory, then the board may act to deny the application, and then he can go and start back at the planning commission.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, I'd make a recommendation to go by planning's suggestion that we table till October 21st.
Thank you.
Second.
Alderman Earhart, motion. Second, Ms. Hamilton, to table to October the 21st. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. This is a public hearing date for consideration of application to amend the project text and preliminary development plan for Center Hill Plantation, submitted by Michelle Yee, DT Design Studio, on behalf of property owners David Halley, Center Hill Plantation Partnership. The request is to increase the amount of open space by 10 plus or minus acres, adding a greater variety of issues while keeping the proposed number of homes below the amount that was approved with the creation of this development in 1999. That approval in 1999 obviously came from DeSoto County. The subject property is 751.67 plus or minus acres, zoned as a PUD, a planned unit development located on the south side of DeSoto Road, with 195 plus or minus acres on the east side of Center Hill and the remaining 556 plus or minus acres on the west side. The public hearing for today's date was set during the meeting on August the 19th and publicly communicated after that. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to begin with showing the general location of this PUD. As you can see, on the north side, DeSoto Road runs east-west. On the south side, Highway 302 with Center Hill running north-south through the middle of the proposed development. So a basic summary and some background of this site. The Center Hill Plantation project text and master plan was approved by DeSoto County in 1999, as Mayor Adams pointed out. An amendment was approved by DeSoto County in 2018. This did reduce the number of lots from 1,133 to 1,020, which was a 113 lot reduction. The PUD was annexed into the city of Olive Branch in 2021. So 4 years ago, the city did acquire it through annexation. The applicant and property owner have requested an amendment to the project text and master plan to meet several objectives of increasing the open space within the planned unit development, adding a greater variety of uses, and changing the total number of residential lots back to the 1999 original version. However, there has been no development in this Center Hill Plantation planned unit development since its 1999 approval and the 2018 amendment. But with the post-annexation extension of central sewer to the area, development is expected to commence within the next several years. And so it will be extended over, many years after that because of multiple development phases, which are obviously dependent on market conditions. It will be further regulated through the city's subdivision procedures, where streets and utilities will be installed and lots platted to allow construction of new homes and businesses. So the PUD amendment summary. As you all are aware, a PUD project text is unlike conventional zoning in that it serves as a unique development code for a project by setting forth permissible uses, bulk regulations, and other standards such as architectural regulations. So these standards in this instance are applied to 3 different parts of this overall particular project. So if you look at your screens, right here, Area 1, which is a mixed use of a mix of uses and plan changes. Area 2, of which no changes are proposed within this text amendment. I will bring up the fact that the fire station is a recently acquired property, which the developer donated to the city. And Area 3, this is where the residential uses will be changed, which is a combination of single-family lots and open spaces, which will be added. So Area 1, which is the commercial area of the planned unit development, I'm going to go back one slide real quick, which is right here, as you can see. As you can see right here, Area 1. As depicted, the land area and potential square footage for the commercial shopping area, which is up here, has been proposed for a substantial reduction from the 2018 plan. This amendment reduces the number of potential commercial lots, as you can see right here. So these lots are, these lots right here will be reduced, the number of lots, and the land area for senior housing, which was right here, right up here, and will be expanded to both sides of this existing drainage ditch. It incorporates single-family senior lots, which is Area 20A, with a prospective senior housing facility and medical offices, which are specific to seniors, senior fitness facilities, and professional offices as supplementary uses in Area 20B, which front Goodman Road. Area 2, as I mentioned earlier, there will be no change in this area. Area 3 is the lot layout of a portion of the single-family area east of Center Hill Road would be revised to add 125 lots. This would mirror the original 1999 PUD lot total. The Area 4, which was originally approved from the 2018 amendment, which did contain 156 30,000 square foot lots, would become areas 31, 32, 33, and 34. Right here, 31 wraps around here, 32, and then 33 and 34. Yes. Those would be revised. Now, the number of lots, as you can see in the table, would be 125 lots, which would be re-added, becoming 1,133 total. As you can see, that doesn't quite match up with what was previously said. That is because during the Planning Commission meeting, there was discussion to remove most of the access to Center Hill. And so to comply with the recommendation of the Planning Commission, the lots were brought back onto an interior street. So the lots that were brought back onto the interior street do not access Center Hill directly. The re-added lots would be an upgrade from an open ditch street section to include curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. So this would be curb and gutter within a 50-foot residential street cross section. And there are several traffic circles are proposed as calming devices. Moving on, open space. There are some open space areas. Open space areas that will be added. There will be an addition of approximately 2%. So it will be bringing the total of approximately 20% up to 22% for a 2% net increase in open space. There are some additional changes which are mostly housekeeping measures. An overall reduction in traffic generation would result from the reduction in commercial acreage. All references within the project text to DeSoto County would be changed to Olive Branch. Additional changes would include identification of any required frontage improvements to Center Hill Road, such as widening, installation, acceleration and deceleration lanes, and installation of the curb and gutter, shall be addressed to the Olive Branch subdivision approval procedure. So the next steps are to plat the property and install street and utility infrastructure. However, this is not expected that development will begin immediately, but rather development is expected to commence within the next several years. So the Planning Commission recommendation on 8/12/2025, the Commission passed a motion to recommend to the Board of Aldermen to approve the application and the proposed amendments to the project text, which are 1, 2, and 3. One is any future amendment to the single-family residential area located to the west of Center Hill will need to consider provisions to extend Fox Lane as a minor collector. Number 2, post-approval to provide a final version of the project text in hard copy. And number 3, the developer and planning staff are to work toward mitigation of curb cuts on Center Hill Road before the Board of Aldermen meeting on September 16th, which is today. This condition, as you can see in the paragraph below, has been satisfied. The master plan was revised to eliminate 9 40,000 square foot lots that would have had driveway access directly onto the east side of Center Hill, which are replaced by 11 20,000 square foot lots with driveway access planned on the internal street system. So that concludes staff presentation. I do believe the applicant has a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Norman. Ms. Yeed, you would like to add something on behalf of the applicant, please come forward. And whoever speaks tonight, please remember to give your name and address so the clerk can capture that for the record. And there's some blue cards on the table at the front of the courthouse. If you will, complete one of those blue cards if you speak.
Hi, Mayor and Aldermen. My name is Michelle Yee, DT Design Studio, 1350 Concourse Avenue, Memphis. So I'll try to keep my presentation brief since Kevin did a great job of covering everything. But just wanted to highlight first a little bit of Mr. Howley's previous projects. We've been working with him for a long time, and he's a well-known, reputable developer here in the region. So I think y'all will be really happy to see this project come to life in Olive Branch. But some of the residential project examples, Howley Plantation in Collierville, Almadale Farms, Strathmore, and Chadwick. David really likes to focus on nice streetscapes, nice entrance treatments, good quality of the homes. Oh, the other way. And also what we're planning partially is senior housing. So some of the other senior housing developments that David has done include Poplar Grove, the Village at Strathmore, Cedar Grove, which is the newest development, and also commercial projects. So Strathmore has a nice commercial frontage as part of the project, and then as part of Howley Park near Town Hall, the Collierville Marketplace self-storage. You know, you wouldn't be able to tell from the street that that's a self-storage building because David took a lot of care in putting, you know, the brick facade and a nice looking office for the self-storage facility. So this is the type of quality that he is committed to bringing here as well. And in addition to that, David is also very committed to civic partnerships. So, for example, Howley Park PD, when that was going through the process, David donated 70 acres for the town hall, library, and a public park, as well as in Almadale Farms, 100 acres for a nature preserve and 250 acres for St. George's School campus. Bailey Station PD in Collierville, which the Cedar Grove development is within, but that one had 120 acres for a FedEx, the FedEx WTC campus. And, you know, a part of this project was also brought on by the donation of the fire station as one of the reasons that we are amending this plan development. But just a little bit of history on the previous developments, or previous versions of this development. In 1999, this is the approved plan. As Kevin mentioned, this has 1,133 homes at 1.8 dwelling units per acre with 73 acres of open space. In 2018, the plan was amended to remove the large lake in the center of the development, and that caused the lots to drop by 113. The open space increased by 54 acres above the 1999 plan. And compared to that, here's the current version of the PD amendment that we're asking for. This has, that one's actually it's back to 1,133 lots. That data did not capture the recent change. But we are at the same density and same lot count as the 1999 plan. And yet our open space has increased by 65 acres. And as I mentioned, some of the changes that required this PD amendment include the annexation, the surrounding development patterns, making this much more feasible development, and the fire station donation. So we're going to zoom in a little bit to each piece that is changing. That 437 acres is not changing, so we're not going to show any details of that. We'll talk about the 191 acre residential neighborhood and the 114 acre commercial and senior housing portion of the site. So the 191 acre residential neighborhood, our strategy here was instead of only having 40,000 and 30,000 square foot lots, we wanted to mix in some different lot sizes to increase the viability of the neighborhood. So we kept the 40,000 square foot lots on the north and replaced the 30,000s with a mix of 12,000, 15,000, and 20,000 square foot lots. In this area, one of the focuses was creating these common open spaces that the lots can focus on and organize around. So we added about 17 acres of open space in this area. And in addition to that, we added added several large traffic circles, which can help slow down the speed of cars and also provide something nice for the homes to look out on. And this results in about 99 lots facing or being adjacent to open space, which is about a third of those lots. And this shows a little bit more, in more detail, where the change from the Planning Commission happened. So we had a good discussion with the Planning Commission, and one of the concerns that they talked about, which ended up being the only condition that they put on us, was to find a way to take driveway access off of Center Hill Road. So when we're looking at this, we flipped those lots from being accessed off of Center Hill to being accessed off of an internal street. And so this row of lots is 20,000 square foot instead of the originally proposed 40,000 square foot. But we do believe that this makes for a better plan, a more cohesive plan, and respects the neighbors' desires to limit the traffic or limit the driveway access. Let me see. Yep, and in addition to that, we are keeping the total number of lots the same as the 1999 plan. Now zooming into the commercial and senior housing component, really what we were doing here was to try to right-size the commercial by looking at what is feasible in a little bit more detail, and filling in the remaining area with additional senior housing. So the previous plan had 88 acres of commercial and 25 acres of senior housing. The new plan now has 64 acres of commercial and 50 acres of senior housing. We did add options for some compatible office and medical type uses near Goodman Road. We feel like that would be a good complement to the senior housing. And one other thing to note is where the self-storage uses are being proposed, we felt like that was a really good spot for it because of the existing transmission easement on the north. We have, oh, sorry, I didn't know that this doesn't point. We have the buffer, the ditch on the east, and we have an internal road on the south, and we are creating a buffer, a landscape buffer on the west. So it's really isolated from everything. You know, it's a good spot for something that will be in demand. And in addition to that, David is also going to be treating the facade facing the road with nice brick and nice office building. So in the summary of the impacts, we're increasing the amount of open space about 65 acres above the 1999 plan and about 11 acres above the 2018 plan. We're making it more feasible for development by mixing in some different lot products, some different commercial uses. And then we're also not exceeding the original density that it was approved. So I believe David wants to come up and say a few words, but that we're both happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm David Halley, Collierville, Tennessee. I wanted to thank the mayor and board for annexing this property into Olive Branch. And one of the reasons we have gone through all of this fine tuning is it did change a lot of standards and upgrade standards when we went from the county into Olive Branch. The use of sidewalks, curbs, gutters, various things that the county didn't have, Olive Branch has, which is great. That makes for a better development. And in fine tuning this, it just gives us a better, over the 26 years of ownership since the other approval, or earliest approval, with the market changes and what's going on, that's why we're here, is to try and adjust it somewhat to fit the market of today. And I have sold assisted living properties in Collierville that have been, the owners are real happy with, it's successful, and the various things we've done, we've incorporated into the commercial area by lowering the commercial down from where it was and tried to fine tune all of this. And I just wanted to thank the mayor and board for taking us in, and this is the gateway to Olive Branch, so I'm very sensitive to that for Olive Branch and for the development. The better the development is and the higher quality, the better value the development has. And for Olive Branch, as it's in the gateway to come in to Olive Branch, I want it to look real good. The architectural controls on all the commercial area will be standard, where you don't have a mishmash of different kind of bricks, different colors, different signage. We're going to coordinate that whole property where everyone has to use the same brick or sister brick. So when you approach it, you see it's a planned development. And it's not gonna, it'll look good. So I wanted to join the mayor and board for thanking Jason Gambone, who worked very hard for years with Collierville and now out here. And a lot of these properties that I have in Collierville, he worked on way back. So we hope to do a real good job. It's a few years from starting, but I'm looking forward to it and being a good partner with the city.
Mr. Halley, not in the senior living area, but the standard residential area, in today's dollars, what would be the approximate value of the average home that you would build in the standard residential area?
I would think in today's market, probably $450,000 and up. I see this as being an upscale development above where a lot of it is right now. I think that I think the creation of this reminds me, Halley Plantation was 550 acres. This is 750, and we have steadily increased it. I donated 84 acres to Memphis National Golf Club for them to put 9 holes through Halley Plantation. So I gave them for $10, 84 acres, and they did a 300-foot fairway and snaked it all through the development, which gave me, it helped them a lot, and it also helped me sell hundreds of lots on the golf course.
Yes.
And we started out, I think, at $50,000 a lot, and I think the last lots were like $175. I thought it'd be a 5-year development. It was a 12-year.
Gotcha.
So this one, I won't be here to see the end of it, but I can certainly get it, I hope to get it started in a few years and get it set up where it'll roll phase by phase till it's, I mentioned to the Planning Commission, the worst thing a developer can do is flood the market with too many lots. And then you have a situation of builders out there building, and the absorption rate is slow, lowers the value, and they're giving homes away, which we don't want. We want it to stay up. So this will probably be 30 and 40 lots a phase, but a lot of them will be pre-sold as we move ahead. And then we start another phase. Any questions?
Board, any questions from the applicant or staff on the report?
Mayor, I just have a comment and a question for Mr. Halley. First of all, I'm excited to see this. We have a business associate in the Halley Office Park in Collierville. It's a class development, something that we're proud to take our clients to. So I think this is a great aspect for Olive Branch. I hope you're around to see the end of this project, but
I hope so.
if you're not going to start for a couple of years, and based on the absorption rate that you desire, do you see this as maybe a 3, 5, 10-year project in your mind? I'm just curious.
This is about a 12-year project at best. Could be 15 years.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a slow growth, not to get ahead of ourselves. And we've had this land 28 years, 29 years ago when we bought it, and zoned it in 1999, so 26 years ago. So we're in no hurry. I think I'm more in a hurry now to get it started, and we have to sewer to wait on, different things to wait for a few years. But once it starts and kicks off, we should be able to hold values, and hopefully these interest rates are coming down. They look like they probably are, which helps everybody.
Great.
So,
Thank you for your comments.
Sure.
And again, I'm excited to see it. I think it's a very well thought out planned development.
well, thank you.
Any additional questions, board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Halley.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Yee?
Yeah, I got a
Whoop.
question, mainly on our planning department. You might stand there for a second. Art, on the east side of development, you know, they were trying to, I guess, eliminate so many entrances on Center Hill Road, so you turn the houses around.
That's right. The planning
Okay.
commission wanted us to flip them all.
You're gonna have, my question there is, you're gonna have, I guess, a fence behind that for the whole length of it?
Oh, sure. Well, yes, sir. We'll have a fence of brick and wood all along the back, and then there's going to be a lot of landscaped areas with another decorative fence that'll be put up, 3 or 4 rail fence with a lot of landscaping between the road and the back of those homes. So we'll
I
have
kinda
2
thought
fences.
that would be your answer. My question is, on the west side, it looks like you got 10 lots, I'm counting them, that all of them open to Center Hill Road. Is that correct? Engineering or
That'd be right here.
whomever? I
Yeah,
thought we were
that-
trying to eliminate that.
Yeah, that would be correct. And what we're doing is, since we had no changes at this point in the 450 lots, the 450 acre parcel where you're talking about, there are 10 1-acre lots along the road there. But the way I thought we did what the planning commission wanted on, when we were with them, of the properties we were changing around. And then when we come in, we have to come back to Holly Branch for every phase. So every time we do a phase, we come back, and each thing has to be fine-tuned. And at that point, we can certainly address that. Because we're going to widen, so my understanding, Center Hill needs to be widened at least 1 lane curb and gutter on each side. And that's the responsibility of the developer to pay for that. So where Center Hill is 2 lanes now, it will eventually be at least 4, maybe 5. But that will take care of a lot of the traffic, and a lot of the concern people had was the traffic is so heavy. Right now with 2 lanes, it's backed up with the middle school, high school, and all the traffic was a backup. So to answer your question, we can certainly address that. I'd love to address it when we come back years from now to address that then on those 10 lots.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the east side, I have no problem with, but the west side, I just don't know why you didn't turn those houses around, you know, not have them open up to, yeah, otherwise, we should have just left it all, all open up
Well,
to Center Hill Road. I mean, not make a change.
well, yeah, we
I mean,
just,
did the planning department talk about that? What was y'all thinking of it? I mean,
Yes, sir,
think
we
we
did,
we were thinking probably along the same lines as Mr. Howley, that
phase would probably be so far into the future, at that point, they could come in with another PUD amendment if necessary, or it could be addressed at the time of plating. Really, when they did this, they were really those three areas that Kevin talked about. They had really done most of their changes to that part that's on the west side of Center Hill and north of the power line easement. They had done all the changes to this area back in 2018, so they didn't really want to touch it as part of this. All of their first phases are really dealing with this area of the single-family residential, and then also into the commercial area, which would of course be more based on market demand. But I don't think it would be a big issue, you know, in year 7 or year 8, for them to come back in and make this little change over here to the roadway and do something similar that they did over here.
Well, that's what my thinking was. I don't really disagree with y'all's whole plan. I just don't know why. It's gonna have so many houses in there, and we do need to eliminate, or not eliminate, but limit to access, everybody pulling in and out of their driveways or backing out of them, or whatever. Well, how many houses is it?
10, I believe you said. There's a 1 acre lots.
Yeah.
And we can adjust
I would
that.
like to see those turned around. Other than that, I have no problem.
Well, what I'd like to do is, if the board sees fit to approve this, I'd love to have your vote, because I'm spoiled like a poodle. I like to get unanimous everything I do. And if we can put in the record that this was brought up tonight, and when we get to that part in the future, we have agreed that we will go in and make that change.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'm happy to do that. I see where we can do it with this
That
road.
sounds fair to me.
Yes, sir. I'll do that, and they make that part of the record when we come in eventually for that we will reface and adjust those lots.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions, board? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If you're here to speak on behalf of, you're in favor of, you're a proponent of this application, come forward. If you wish to speak on behalf of it, you're for it, come forward. If you wish to speak against it, I'll call those in a moment. You want to speak for it, come forward. Well, I'm going to take comments in just a minute. So anyone here to speak on behalf of it, you're in favor of this application, come forward. Now, if anyone to speak comments, come forward, sir. And anyone to speak against it, come forward. And just please remember to give the clerk your name and address so we can capture it for the record.
Not to hold it up, I'll finish it. Apologize for my address, but I came straight from the yard. I was here at the last meeting, and David mentioned too about widening Center Hill, one lane on each side, running north and south. And again, as if you remember last time, I'm south of Goodman, okay. And actually in the county, so I don't have a horse in this race right now. My question is, if you're going to widen Center Hill, okay, I assume that is to get traffic going north, is that correct, and south? Because that's the way it runs. My question is, if it's 4-lane, is that going all the way to Holmes? Because you're crossing the Tennessee line then, or is there going to be 4 lanes and then dead end right there to a 2-lane and go up into Holmes? And then my question is, what the hell's going to happen then with all that traffic when it hits this?
Probably the same thing that happens today at Hacks Cross Road and State Line Road.
Right, everybody cusses.
I've made my petition to.
And I'm like, my wife and I are like David. Yeah. We won't be around to see that, okay, but just
We will keep asking Shelby County for help. We ask them every year to help on that.
While you're doing that, as I said, we live south of Goodman, and right now it's a mess with Center Hill Farms and so forth, and a lot of traffic already, and they haven't, started moving in there yet. So in the morning, if you go there with school and so forth, at 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's backed up about a mile right now. So what's going to happen in 2 years when Center Hill Farm starts selling in there? So we need to consider that long range.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just food for thought.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
What was your name, sir?
Gene Holloway.
Mr. Holloway, thank you.
And I'll fill out the card, finish filling out the
Okay,
card.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Puerto Rico shirt's okay. I had a good memories down there as well. Anyone else to speak for comments or against this particular application?
My name is Albert Cowan, and I live on Center Hill. But I live on the south side of Goodman. Y'all say on the north side, y'all say that gonna be what, 4 lane? I believe highway.
Possibly at some point. We don't have a date for that to be widened at this
Okay.
time.
Now, what's gonna happen on the south side of Center Hill after you cross Goodman 302? Is that gonna be left as is?
As fast as this city's growing, Mr. Collins, I'm skeptical to say anything will be left as is. As traffic demands it, then it'll be addressed and expanded. Right now, the traffic is frequent, but it's not extremely high on the south side of 302. So engineering would look at that as the years go along and certainly try to keep it to where it's passable and without delays.
Okay, but my question is, how would you put a 4 lane highway if the house is so close to the road? See, because my house is right on Center Hill.
Gotcha.
You know, so that means I lose all of my front yard, possibly.
I think that we'd have to decide what direction that road would be widened on, what side would it be widened on, and what type of monetary offer would be made, but we're just simply not there yet. We could be years away from ever getting to that point. We're not ready to even explore or get the numbers on widening Center Hill south of 302 at this time, are we?
We've been aware of Center Hill. There's a number of houses that have been there for a number of years. That all that gets taken into consideration when we start looking at it. You know, like, as the mayor said, we're going to look first at the need, and we widen a road if there's capacity issues and so forth. But the number of homes, the location of them, help us determine what the alignment might be, which means the center line where it is today might actually move further away from you. Not necessarily closer. So it just depends on how that, I guess, what's the least impact we can put the road in there and widen it when the time comes that we determine something needs to be done.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Collins?
No, nothing else, but I'm just gonna see how they gonna do it. You know, with the houses right on the road.
Understood.
That's my.
Thank you, sir. Pastor?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Pastor Dodson of the New Halliburton Baptist Church there at DeSoto Road and Center Hill, and neighbor of Mr. Halley, been great neighbors, and we want to commend him for an excellent project that he's bringing to our area. 20 years ago, we built a 17,000 square feet Family Life Center, and we were told that the Payne Road was going to be open from Goodman to DeSoto. So we faced the building toward the road that's not there yet. And so I wanted to know if there are any plans to open up Payne Road from Goodman to DeSoto Road, which runs right in front of our facility.
Yes. Pastor Dodson, no immediate plan. There's nothing. We literally go fiscal year to fiscal year, and we just budgeted for next year, and it's not in next year's plan. Whether it's in years thereafter, it'd just be a board decision how we approach that going forward.
So what do we need to do to try to be a part or make sure something like this takes place?
Mr. Swims, how often do we evaluate roads for expansions such as that?
You know, this, I'm not looking exactly at how the land is around there. It's a lot of times it's driven by development that comes around there and the need. I know that Payne Lane does not connect for a section. Of course, you've got up there where y'all's church is, and then that dead ends, and then you have some more residential homes that have been there for a number of years. Right. And if it stays like that, there may not be something that the city's going to do to try to connect that road immediately. But I know that there is right-of-way dedication through there, that does exist. We've had some questions about that, so that's just something we would have to look into further determine, you know, if it's a need there for the city to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Dodson. Any other comments for, against? Mr. Cowan, come back forward. Yes, sir.
That's my pastor there, y'all. So we go to the same church. And my question is about Payne Lane and about the road that's gonna come right by the Family Life Center. You know, like it's right at the church. Now, if they put a road, that road will be right at our Family Life Center. Okay. And, you know, that's a concern, you know, for the traffic and how close, you know, the road will actually be to the building. And y'all said that what development is further on down the road.
It's definitely further down the road. We don't have any immediate plan. But before something like that gets started, we would contact the church and the landowners to be involved in discussion on that.
Okay. Yeah, and what I would like, you know, I know this development has been in working for quite some time. Now, is there any way that the church could acquire some of that property where the road run right by the building? So I would, you know, like to acquire some of that property.
If we get to an expansion project, that would be an option. If we get to a stage, there might be an option we'd purchase some of that. We just don't know until it's actually drafted and engineers do their design work. Then we just don't know how exactly it would run.
But we would like to acquire at least 10 to 20 acres of that property.
Gotcha.
If, you know, I know it might be further down the road, and I don't know what, you know, I know several developers, you know, is working on it, but we would like to acquire at least 10 to 20 acres where we won't be right on the road.
So you're talking about acquiring from another landowner, or I misunderstood you. I thought you were asking if the city was going to acquire property from the church. You're talking about acquiring property from another landowner. Is that what you're asking?
Acquiring some of the property for the church that where the road from Payne Lane.
Yes, sir.
Is coming. It's going to run into the Soda Road. Acquiring some of that property if the church could.
Okay. It's not our property.
Developer.
It's not our property to sell.
Okay.
But if we could help you find the landowner,
okay.
If you want to have that conversation, we'd be glad to help you find the landowner.
Okay. Well, I hope they find it and they, you know, to do it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
And if you're familiar with that plat, you can send it to me, and Pastor Dodson and I have email contact, and I'll sure send the landowner's name and contact information to him.
I'll be glad to look at it with him. I know there's some right-of-way dedication through there, and we can share what information we have on the property and what exists through there.
Okay, thank you.
Be glad to.
Yes, sir. Any other comments, public input? Hearing none, seeing none, the public comments section is hereby closed. Board, any questions or motions on this?
Mayor, I'll tender a motion to approve as presented, but also to add Mr. Collins' request that Mr. Howley would address those lots on the east side of, the west side of Center Hill at the time of that phase.
Yeah, the residential
to mitigate driveways coming out onto Center Hill.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Earhart. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Collins. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks to everyone who spoke publicly on this particular item. Item number 3, public hearing for consideration of application to amend the project text for Kirk Farms submitted by Tim DeGastino, W.H. Porter Consultants, on behalf of property owners Allen, Olive Branch, John Porter, member. The request involves several changes, including but not limited to transportation, circulation, phasing of amenities, and a number of lots in the planned developments sub-districts. The subject property is 234.01 plus or minus acres, zoned R3, planned residential district, located on the north side of Goodman Road and on the east side of Eastern Drive and west of Creekside Drive. This public hearing date was set on August the 19th, 2025 for tonight. Staff report, please.
Mayor Alderman, before you is a request to consider an amendment to the project text for Kirk Farm planned residential development. In March of last year, the Board of Aldermen approved this particular project text for a piece of property located north of Highway 302 or Goodman Road, east of Pork Lane, and just west of Fox Creek subdivision. As you did indicate, at the time, this property was Zone A agricultural residential, and in March last year, it was rezoned to the current PUD. The preliminary laid out plan that was approved basically looked like this, shown on the left-hand side of your screen. The proposed preliminary laid out plan will be what you have to the right of your screen. The changes that are suggested include an increase in the acres open space from 72.44 acres to 75.14 acres. So the open space in this preliminary plan or this subdivision is going to increase. The total number of lots will reduce just by one. So almost basically the same. Fox Bend was proposed on there is the elimination of Fox Bend Lane extension and connection of Kirk Farms to Fox Creek subdivision. So in the plan that was approved in March of last year, you had this connection here connecting the subdivision into Fox Creek, and the proposed development will eliminate that connection. So you will not have that particular connection. One of the reasons for this is floodplain studies have shown that in order to go in and put a culvert and to make that connection, about 2 houses on that road may be flooded. There's significant possibility that the houses will be flooded. So in order to avoid that, the developer proposes to eliminate that connection. The previous or the current preliminary development plan approved had another connection to the north that is proposed to be moved to the south, moved southward, to become the Fox Lane extension westward. So essentially, the goal here is to have Fox Lane extended from Pork Lane all through to Center Hill Road to provide a kind of a minor collector road extending east to west from Pork Lane to Center Hill Road. That could significantly help alleviate traffic on Goodman Road. Regarding the reduction in the number of lots from 603 to 602, there will be an increase. This results from a number of factors. First, there will be an increase in the aggregate size of lots in the entire subdivision. One of the things the board has always wanted to see is, you don't want these lots getting smaller. So, and what the developer has done is there will be a reduction of the total lot count for the minimum 6,000 square feet lots. That will reduce from 173 to 159. So your smallest lots in the subdivision, the number of those lots are going to reduce from 173 to 159. The area for those lots will then be added to the 7,200 square feet lots. So you have an increase in the minimum 7,200 square feet lots from 243 to 343. And then lastly, there will be a minor reduction in the minimum 10,000 square feet lots from 107 to 100. So generally, the lot sizes in the subdivision from a numbers perspective are kind of increased as a matter of aggregate. With regard to amenities provided in the subdivision, the swimming pool will be maintained. There will be no change. The swimming pool that was proposed to be at this particular location will be moved northward to a future phase. The reason for this is the developer is trying to put it at a more central location such that it could be, being centrally located, more enjoyed by the folks or the part of the subdivision to the east, to the west, and to the south. So trying to put it more in the center. In the previous design, it was very, very far away from the lots that will be in the northeast section of this development. That's why they're moving that swimming pool northward. The pickleball court is maintained. The 8-foot wide trail is maintained throughout the subdivision. A public art is proposed to be added in the first, right here at the common open space at the entrance into the subdivision from Park Lane. That did not exist in the current approval. So that is an addition that would be made in the current amendment, proposed amendment. The zoning ordinance provides a number of criteria for reviewing proposed amendments to planned residential development. One of it is that modifications as proposed, they should be consistent with the standards and criteria regarding planned residential developments. There are no violations of those standards. All standards regarding the development of these houses in terms of 75% brick facade on all sides, minimum 1.5 story, all of those standards are maintained. None of that is changing in this particular development. The second is that the request should be specifically made by the developer, and that is what we have in this case. This application was submitted by Allen Olive Branch, the developer. The third is that there shouldn't be inadequate or unsafe access to the proposed planned development. So you see, this is the area of the subdivision as proposed. At the request of MDOT, if you go out on Highway 302, currently there is an arrow cut at this particular location going into Fox Creek subdivision. That's where you have the new gas station. So you have an arrow cut there, and then you have the traffic light to the east. MDOT has requested or is requiring that the crossover into Creekside Drive be shut down. So that crossover is going to be removed. This is independent of this proposed amendment. So whether this amendment goes through or not, even if the developer were to build this subdivision according to what is currently approved, these requirements from MDOT will be in place. So that crossover, MDOT is requiring that it be eliminated. The second crossover into Eastern Drive will also be removed. That is a requirement from MDOT, is not a requirement from the city. MDOT is requiring that the developer construct an arrow cut at the main entrance into the subdivision. So that would basically be the same design that we have on Fox Creek Drive going into Fox Creek subdivision. These improvements are intended to avoid left turns and crosses on Highway 302, essentially to make the road safer. It will be the responsibility of the developer to make these improvements, not the responsibility of the city of Olive Branch. Another element which we had mentioned involves the elimination of that connection into Fox Bend Lane. The developer has also proposed 2 other changes with respect to adequate access and emergency services. The zoning code requires that regarding project text amendments of planned residential development, traffic volumes should not exceed the anticipated capacity of the proposed major street network in the vicinity. With just a reduction in one lot from 603 to 602, the traffic volume reduction is not estimated that there will be any negative impact with respect to traffic volumes. Fox Lane is also proposed to have a bike lane. So going across that subdivision, it's now been proposed to include a bike lane. Also, all the lots or the existing roads in Eastern View subdivision that stepped into this new subdivision, they were proposed to be dead-ended. Those dead ends will be maintained. The developer, however, proposes to add an emergency access point in the new development. That would only be accessed by the emergency vehicles, fire trucks, police. It will not be used by the general public. With regard to the bike lane provision for Fox Lane, the goal here, the vision here is the city can eventually create over 6 miles of a bike lane in this whole area with The proposed bike lane on Fox Lane extending from here basically across to Pork Lane. You could have that bike lane extend up to Kirk Drive, go through on Kirk Road, extend to the east, go down on Mustang, down on Center Hill, reconnect as this other development comes into play, and reconnect back into Fox, the proposed Kirk Farm. And that will be over 6 miles of a bike lane in that eastern end of the city without any city involvement in this whole development. So that's a possibility that this sets up to achieve. Another criteria is that the houses in this particular development should not be adversely affected by any incompatible development in the area. The lots will all remain single-family residential. That land use is not changing. With regard to any detriment to surrounding neighborhood, we had mentioned the flooding issue. This area shown in blue, that is the flood plain that has been studied. And if you look in this particular lot here, is clipped with a bit of a flood plain right there. Those 2 lots are kind of clipped. The moment if this connection was made, then those houses there will flood. That is why they are eliminating that particular connection to avoid that flooding issue. The Planning Commission reviewed this application at its meeting on August 12th and unanimously recommended approval subject to one condition, namely that all improvements shall be the responsibility of the developer and not the city of Olive Branch. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Song. Board, any questions?
Yes, but go ahead, Pat, you got one.
Can you elaborate any on what's being added with the public art? What does that include?
The developer has not made a decision on what that would be. But when they bring in, I think one of the conditions of approval is when the preliminary plat for that particular phase is submitted, the developer would submit at that time what that public art would be for the board's consideration.
No decision made, but in my discussion, it was agreed it would not be a salute to MDOT because of the R turns that is costing the developer $100,000 plus. So it won't be a monument on behalf of MDOT, correct? Mr. Vargo? Yep. So this decision just not made yet on the artwork.
Yeah, Mayor, I had a question for staff. On the proposed elimination of Fox Bend, it appears that, just from our drawing, that is a permanent lake, or is that just a coloration of what would happen if it were flooded? So in other words, is that what is blue on our report, is that going to be a permanent lake or a dry retention pond that could be flooded?
Now, what is shown in blue is the floodplain.
Okay.
So that's a floodplain.
So it basically would be open green space that,
Yes, sir.
will that be maintained by an HOA as far as cutting and maintenance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this area shown here in blue,
Yes.
look at the new design shown here in blue, that would be a stormwater detention area
Okay.
to be maintained by the HOA.
Okay, so it's not a permanent lake. That was one of my concerns there, but.
The
okay.
creek, of course, flows through that area,
Mhm.
and what they are proposing to have, you will have the stormwater detention area just close to the creek.
Right, okay. And for curiosity, did you say that Eastern Drive will be eliminated by MDOT?
The crossover into Eastern, yes, sir.
So there's a house at the southeastern corner right there by, yeah, how are they gonna access their home? Are they gonna have to come through Kirk Road and,
They will have to come in through, I think this is Stanley. They'll have to come in through Stanley,
can they get,
go down on Thompson and,
but then can they get there from Thompson? I guess they can hook back down Eastern, is it dead? Okay. I know it's not our jurisdiction, but I was just curious how he's gonna get to his house.
No.
and these are some of the issues we've pointed out to MDOT that this is going to create, but MDOT has decided, they have made their decision, and that's what they will have.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other questions?
I got a question. I guess I'm the only one that likes roundabouts, but I noticed we eliminated one of them. My daughter lives in a subdivision like this, and they have roundabouts instead of stop signs. And I just wondered, you had 2 in there, and you got down to 1. I don't know how long that is. How far from what is that? What road, what's the name of the road that comes off of? What is that, Pope Lane? How far is it from the front to the back of that?
There were two roundabouts, one coming in from.
Yeah. I'm
from-
looking at one, yeah, but on the previous plan, you had one down right, yeah,
Right.
whoever had one right in there. Yeah, you got long hauls, I guess you just gonna have stop signs, I guess we like stop signs.
They have maintained one of the roundabouts, and then the other one further to the south that was eliminated.
I mean,
He proposed a traffic calming device. It's called a chicane, where the road kind of narrows down at the intersection. You don't have a
Right.
roundabout, but
I was trying to count the number of houses along that street. I mean, I always thought that if you come to a dead stop and then start up, it's more exhaust and everything like that. Not that I'm trying to be an environmentalist, but I always heard that you don't wanna do that. Because whoever lives on that corner, and they can, I mean, I just kinda, is it a reason y'all eliminate it? I mean, are they here?
yes, sir. I think the developer can address that. The
Would
roundabout can be put
applicant
back.
like to
I mean,
speak to that?
just kinda, every city is putting them in everywhere but us. I mean, I don't know why we don't push them more. You wanna come up? I think you eliminated one lot for us to make the change.
How you doing? Henry Porter, W.H. Porter. And
You
so-
hear what my question was?
Yeah, why is that second eliminated?
Well, I mean, all these big subdivisions like this, where my daughter and them live in the south, Jackson area and all that, every one of the subdivisions are putting in roundabouts instead of having four-way stops
Mhm.
and stuff. And I drive in their subdivision, and it's so easy to do it. Not a big one, you know what I'm saying? It's subdivision roundabout.
You know, I guess when we laid out the northern roundabout, we actually used the MDOT guidelines when we were doing it, kind of give us a basis to make that thing as smooth as possible, since that will be kind of a north, south, east, west intersection for Fox. And we ended up kind of pinching the one down on the south end, really kind of give at least a little bit of landscape on the other side, kind of keep you going slow through there, because I mean, the idea is that if you're kind of pinching in with your curb, you're gonna naturally want to slow down because you see that obstruction there. So you should be slowing down when you're going to that stop sign and then speeding through.
Have you seen people drive today?
I mean, that's the
All
other
due
part is
respect
that
to you,
maybe
if
nobody's
they-
stopping at the
They
stop
don't
signs
slow
either.
down for those things.
Yeah,
Oh,
could just be
I'm
cruising
not
through.
really against you changing your plan so much. I'm just trying to bring us into the 21st century, on this thing. I mean, my daughter's subdivision is 1/10 the size of this, and I bet they have 5 of them in there. I mean,
I think there's a
if
point
they
where,
don't, the stop signs, they try to
yeah.
do away with them.
I was gonna say, I think there's a point where you can add too many circles in there.
Well, I
But-
mean, I guess you can, but that's a long haul for everybody to stop. I guess you'd have one, I don't know whether you'd have a stop sign in the T-bone ones or not.
Mhm.
Yeah, if not, you got one when pull out on Goodman and one in the middle, and you pass, I don't know, I was trying to count 50 houses or 60. But I just wonder, do y'all ever consider it? I mean, I just, you did have 2 in there.
Yeah,
You put one back in,
yeah. We can
at least put one. I mean,
put it, we can look at it and put it back.
Okay.
I mean, was there a reason for taking it out? I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
Because on the
That was
drawing to
in,
the-
so, we had that one there because we had the pool next to it and the common open space
Right.
next to it. And so it all kind of blended in together. And so since we moved that main common open space to the north, we wanted to make that, I guess, roundabout on the north side, more of the focal
Mhm.
point. So that was the whole reason why we took it out.
Would it
Mr.
be,
Vargo?
would it be a huge challenge or economic loss of lots for you to put a small roundabout back in
We
there?
could, yeah, we can easily investigate that.
I mean, I think it would be an asset to that. I kind
Well,
of
I
agree.
do too. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it looks better than the stop signs.
And I do think it would be, in my opinion, a better traffic calming device, because I don't care how narrow you make it, people don't slow down, they're just gonna come zip in and back out.
Mhm. The only thing we would ask is, we can look at it from just an emergency standpoint of making sure that vehicles can get through there, fire trucks, stuff like that,
Sure.
or trucks, anything.
Okay.
So it might end up being, what we've kind of been looking at nowadays, is that if you get that circle too small, you need to put like a concrete band,
Mhm.
5, 6, 7 feet wide, so that your emergency vehicles can get through it without like tearing up grass or anything.
But you said you put that one back in.
The one on the north side is pretty large. What we put here might be a little bit smaller than that one.
I'd like to see it added back in. Of course, I appreciate your consideration for emergency vehicles, but I tend to agree with Alderman Collins on that one.
Okay.
If you could add that back in.
We'll
I
put it
think-
back in.
Okay.
Thank you.
The amenities that are moving around, like the pool and the pickleball courts and things, are they gonna maintain the same size, or they're gonna shrink them, or they're gonna maintain the same size?
They're gonna be the same size. It's actually the area on that north side we're putting the pool in is actually gonna be a little bigger now, but we're gonna use the same kind of footprint in there.
I know that was one thing that was pushed during the original approval.
Mhm.
I have the people sitting there waiting on amenities forever, and then it'd be the last thing, and kids that got out of school telling them, you know.
No, there's a goal to get this thing as quick as possible.
Any additional questions from the board? Thank you, sir. If the board's so inclined, any motions? Oh, it is public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this application? This is a public hearing. If you're here to speak for or against this application, please come forward. Seeing none, public comments is closed. If there are no more questions, board, any motions if you're so inclined?
I'd make a motion to accept it as presented with one addition, that the roundabout be added back in at the intersection of Fox Bend, and I'm not sure what that main quarter street is, but what does that mean? Yeah, where the original one was.
Okay. There's a motion. Board, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Wallace. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 1, under new business, consideration of application for a preliminary plat for Kirk Farms, Phase 1, submitted by Robert Reeves Land Development Solutions, LLC, on behalf of Allen Olive Branch property owners, John Porter, member. The request is to divide 21.83 plus or minus acres into 53 residential lots and 4 common open spaces. The subject property is zoned R3, planned residential district located in the northeast corner of Eastern Drive and Goodman Road. Staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman, before you is a request to consider the preliminary plat, subdivision plat for Phase 1 of the same subdivision, which is just approved the project text amendment for. So this will be the area for the Phase 1, consisting of 53 lots. The roundabout, we just talked about that, you want added would be at this location, so that will be in a future phase. It will not be part of this Phase 1. This Phase 1 would mainly include those 53 lots, connection to Eastern Drive. You have a portion of the trail that will have to be constructed as part of this Phase 1, and then you have the main entrance future of Goodman Road. So those will be the key constructions in this Phase 1 of the subdivision. This Phase 1 will mainly consist of 2 classes of lots. You will have the manor lots, minimum 10,000 square feet, And then you will also have the minimum sum of the minimum 7,200 square feet lots that will be constructed in this particular phase. Because you have stormwater management infrastructure will also be provided. This is the layout of phase 1. Eventually, this will extend northward. So basically, the developer is beginning this subdivision from Goodman Road, constructing it northward from the highway. The Planning Commission reviewed this application at its meeting on August 12th and unanimously recommended approval subject to a number of conditions. The plat that was reviewed by the Planning Commission did not include, it didn't show that 8-foot wide trail. Planning Commission requested that it should be added before this is presented to you, and that has been added to the plat. So that particular condition has been taken care of. Condition number 5 stresses that the portion of the walking trail lying within this phase 1 area of the subdivision must be constructed before the approval of the final plat for this particular phase 1. So that will need to be done. Condition number 8, an approved MDOT permit shall be submitted to the city engineer for the new street connection to Highway 302 before commencement of construction. Any and all improvements that are required along Highway 302 by MDOT shall be constructed by the developer. Condition number 13 was stressing, as part of the approval of this particular PUD or planned residential development in 2014, one of the conditions was that to provide sewer to this particular development, the developer had to enter into agreement with the city. That was already done with some changes and some other discovery in terms of sewer capacity. The city engineer can throw more light on that. That has been identified in the area. There may be need to modify that particular agreement. And this condition number 13 covers that. The developer shall comply with their obligation regarding sewer improvement cost sharing as provided in the Memorandum of Understanding between the city, the DRCOA, and Allen Olive Branch LLC for cost sharing for the construction of regional sewer systems facilities that was executed on November 6, 2024. All other provisions of this memorandum remain effective regarding the Kirk Farms subdivision, subject to any amendments or nullifications as may be provided in the memorandum. And the city attorney can throw some light on that too. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, any questions on the report? Hearing none, any motions if you're so inclined?
I do have a
Question.
Are we gonna require, or is there a fence between this subdivision and, what was it, Pleasant Acres? Is there a fence between, I know it's a green strip.
It's Fox Creek
Yeah,
to
right,
the,
yeah.
Fox Creek to the east
See,
and
right, yeah, I know, Art. No, I'm talking to the west.
on the west,
Because those are larger lots. And
over by
there's not
Stanley.
2 lots included in here, but the rest of them, is that a fence or just a green way?
There will be a fence. So all the lots, these minor lots shown here in yellow, they will have a fence at the back, and then between the fence and Eastern Drive, I think it's about 50 feet or 20 feet wide, a natural green space will be left there.
Is it a fence required? It's not? I'm just saying, those are large lot houses all back here. Some of them will have 3 or 4 houses backed up to one lot. I mean, I hate to be the one talking all the time.
No. Nope. That's okay. That's all right. How wide is the buffer? Can you?
I mean, I think you should have a fence. Some type. This is,
Do we know how wide the
this
buffer is?
subdivision, compared to the other subdivisions,
60, 50 feet wide buffer?
Yes, sir, it's 50 feet.
are y'all gonna put a fence behind it? Is the fence required or not?
Fence is not
Well, I mean, I don't know, the 50 feet though, the houses you built, they're not gonna own the 50 feet. So if you had built a fence, it'd be on, what, on the?
I would assume that there could definitely be fences behind there, but I don't believe it's required.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of them might would build it, but I know a lot of people lived in there, and they were awful upset over putting all those small lots next to them. And that sure would,
A fence was not required for those, behind those houses when the project text was approved last year. What was required was a 50 feet natural buffer, and in areas where we don't have trees, the developer agreed to add more trees into that buffer. I think the kind of assumption was that, which is common with this subdivision, almost all those houses there, they're gonna build fences in their backyard. So you're gonna have, fence from the house construction, most likely.
So the phase one, there's really two homes proposed that's adjacent to those other two lots, correct?
Yes, sir.
At the front,
well, what I was thinking,
going forward.
you might, if you require a fence, they could also put it in their HOA to maintain it once it's built out. But require, get the fence built,
Okay.
as they build the houses. That's my thinking, because then you'd always have it, and they won't have to keep it up once the houses are developed and built.
Mr. Mayor, I would point
No,
out,
we got a lot, I had a lot of people call me from this old subdivision.
those lots don't back up to each other. That actually, on the other side of that 50-foot preserved landscape buffer is a road. So there's not, the lots actually don't back up to each other. So there's actually much more space than just the 50
But-
feet. You'd have a right-of-way as well.
Eastern Drive between their lots and these lots.
Yes, sir.
And then another 50 feet.
Yes.
Eastern Drive right away, plus.
So you would end up with about 85 feet total, probably.
About so.
Say that again, we end up with between the width of the street and the 50, 88, or thereabout.
Pretty much what we have in Maywood right now. We got a 50-foot buffer and a 30-foot street.
And
And
you
so
require a fence.
Yeah.
on Allendale.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we had required a fence.
I think the board at that time did, yeah.
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 No. That's one of the places I was thinking about, yeah. I'd like to have a fence along there, other than that, I don't have him, again, I'm not. But whatever y'all think on it, I'll tell them all y'all voted against the fence.
They hadn't voted yet, Mr. Collins. They hadn't voted. How tall would the fence need to be?
Well,
6
just
feet.
6 foot regular fence, I mean, all that's right,
By city specs.
yeah. And then they could always, like they said, put it in the homeowner, HOA, to maintain that back fence, in case it fell down. So, probably help them sell the house, I would think. You have a problem with that?
I have no problem with that at
Okay.
all. Could we do that in lieu of the trees being replanted or anything in that 50-foot natural buffer? Would that be an issue?
It's a good question, because you're talking about driving down Eastern Road, and immediately on the right-hand side of Eastern Road is gonna be a fence.
Right.
So,
Well,
does that fit? Do
Eastern-
we have any streets that, on the one side of the street is nothing but fence all the way down?
You talking about Eastern?
Yes, sir, if you go down Eastern, all you're gonna see is a fence on the right-hand side.
the trees.
Right. There's a significant grade difference between Eastern Drive and the property line that starts the back property of those
Used to be a
two lots.
hayfield.
It's about a 13-foot
So
drop
Eastern
between that.
Drive is lower than,
Much higher.
It's higher.
Eastern Drive is higher.
Correct.
So they would be looking down into the backyard.
Yes, sir. So that's
But you have a 50-foot buffer, so
a natural landscape buffer. yes,
fence
sir.
would go on which side, the outside of the 50-foot buffer?
I would think that the property owners would appreciate
They
if
wouldn't
there
wanna-
was a fence being built, that it'd be build along their back property line.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
Right, but it's gonna be roughly 13 feet below Eastern Drive,
Okay.
so. But we could do either way. If you guys want a fence, that's fine. If you would rather have the trees replanted, we could do that.
If you do the fence, how many trees are we eliminating? 10, 20, 100?
At this
Well,
point,
much,
I'm not
they
sure.
build it on their property, cause that's gonna be their yard.
So the buffer stays?
The buffer stays there.
Correct.
Yeah, the buffer stay there.
The homeowner maintain the buffer or the HOA?
HOA, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ideally, it
You
would
got the
become
HOA doing that in
woods
the fence,
eventually.
so,
Yep.
once it's all built out.
Well, I'll speak as a homeowner, and from what I've heard, both, I hate to put a lot more economic cost on you, although that's not tremendous, but I benefit from seeing a green space and a fence in my neighborhood, and we get a lot of requests from existing neighbors that great development, but think about us and what our needs are as well. So, I mean, I think Alderman Collin makes a good point. So if you don't disagree, I think a fence would be a great addition, and put it on the HOA to maintain it after it's installed.
Yeah.
And then as far as the elimination of trees, I haven't seen a live photo yet, so I don't know how much open space is gonna be between those first two homes and the fence. Is it 50 feet of air, or are there some trees there, or?
It's a great question. At this point, I'm not sure. I can't speak to the grading profile and what's from the edge of Eastern to the back property line, how much will be removed. We would plan to put something back anyway, just not extremely dense amount,
Right.
like a wood.
Can we leave
felt
that at the
wood.
discretion of the
For,
planning?
for these
Right.
two lots, there are really no trees there.
So they're gonna have
For
a
these
house
two lots, they will have to
and
plant
see a
trees.
fence? Okay,
Right.
okay.
For these two lots.
But I have no problem with that.
That would, I think that's great. George, is that good with you as far, if they put the fence and the trees to make sure those people on Eastern Drive aren't looking at a fence?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I figured they were gonna no disturb the 50 feet anyway. And they're gonna grade the lots off for the people that have a lot. You know, so I think you just put it, leave the 50 foot and that, and unfortunately it goes back to the HOA when it's finished, but that's about all we could
That's where it
do.
needs to be.
Kind of protecting the other neighborhood. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Any additional questions or motions?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve it as presented, except adding on the fence to the specs of our
Mr.
building department, whatever.
Mr. Collins,
City
motion
code.
to approve with the fence requirement on the perimeter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Mr. Earhart, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, consideration of application for a final plat for Haygood minor lot subdivision submitted by Bob Farley, Farley Surveying, on behalf of Jason Haygood and Amber Haygood, Rottenberry, property owners. The request is to subdivide 5.88 plus or minus acres into 3 lots. The subject property is zoned AR Agricultural Residential and is located on the east side of Davidson Road, approximately 850 feet south of Timber Oaks Drive, known as 6292 Davidson Road. Report, please.
Mayor Alderman, before you is a request to consider a minor subdivision plan that seeks to create 3 lots out of these existing unplatted parcel of 5.88 acres along Davidson Road, south of Highway 302, just beside the cemetery. This piece of property, as I did indicate, is unplatted, and what the applicant proposes to do is to split it into 3 lots. Lot 1 will be where the house currently sits on. That will be 3.85 acres in size. Lot 2 will be 1.01 acre, and lot 3 will be 1.01 acre too. So all these lots will be minimum 1 acre in size. The ARO district, agricultural residential, requires lots to be minimum 1 acre. the subdivision as proposed basically meets all zoning requirements regarding lot size, setbacks, minimum lot width, density, and all such bulk regulation provisions. There is a water line available, 6-inch along Davidson Road. There is an 8-inch sewer line also available for the development of Lot 1, Lot 2, and Lot 3 as proposed. So those lots can tap into these utilities. One of the conditions of approval that you have is a requirement that the first 100 feet of this existing driveway, which is gravel, be paved by no later than December 31st, 2026. So that will, generally the zoning ordinance requires that the driveways be paved in their entirety. At this point when they are platting, that changes, the conditions of these driveways, no longer kind of an existing driveway, because this is not a new lot. It's not grandfathered anymore. But this driveway is over 900, 700, 800 feet long. It will be extremely costly for the developer to pave it. As such, the condition provides that the first 100 feet be paved. We discussed this with the property owner, and they are okay with that condition. Driveways for lots 2 and 3, there will be any new houses that will be constructed will have to be paved in their entirety. Sidewalks are not required in the ARO district. As such, there will be no need to waive the requirement for sidewalks. The Planning Commission reviewed this application at its September 9 meeting and recommended approval unanimously, subject to these conditions 1 to 7. Condition number 4 included that the applicant should add a note on the plat stating that the first 100 feet of the driveway on Lot 1 shall be paved no later than December 31st, 2026. And condition number 5 also add a note stating that driveways on Lot 2 and Lot 3 shall be paved entirely. So anybody buying those lots through the plat should know what they are buying. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Song. Any questions or motions?
I make a motion to approve.
Ms. Hamilton, motion to approve. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Aldridge. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of application for a final plat for Sergio's Auto Repair Subdivision submitted by Bob Farley, Farley Surveying, on behalf of Donnie Oxner, property owner. The request is to create one lot from 2.07 plus or minus acres. Subject property is zoned M2 Heavy Industrial District and is located on the east side of Highway 178, directly across from Maywood Drive, known as 8220 Highway 178. Report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Oxnor owns 2 pieces of properties along Highway 178. One is currently used by Sergio for auto repair. The adjoining parcel, Sergio also intends to acquire that parcel. I think he intends to close on it sometime within the next 2 or 3 months. And the request before you is, these are unplatted. He intends to acquire these 2 parcels, combine them into one lot, and then plat them as a subdivision lot. What kind of generated this is he needs to put really a fence along the eastern property line in order to buffer this side from this adjoining residential development. When that was brought to our attention, we noticed that the property was unplatted, and so we asked him to combine the lots into one and plat it. So that is why this is before you. The city owns a lift station at this particular location, and an easement is being reserved. An easement exists already on that particular property that is shown on the plat. It's going to be reserved. This plat will not fully comply with the existing setback requirements. The buildings there exist already. This particular building will only be 1.4 feet from the side setback. Setbacks are required to be minimum, side yard setbacks are required to be minimum 25 feet. So this will only be 1.4 feet. It's existing, will basically be legal non-conforming. That building there exists. The front yard setback on Highway 178 would only be 10 feet. The zoning ordinance requires that in this C2 district, the front yard setback should be 50 feet. That exists, it will be legal non-conforming. One of the conditions of approval, condition number 3, as was recommended by the Planning Commission at its meeting on September 9 for approval, is the recognition that the existing buildings are legal non-conforming regarding side and front yard setbacks in the current M2 district. Future buildings, however, shall meet all setback requirements. So if you were to demolish any of those buildings and rebuild them, you have to move them and meet setback requirements. Condition number 4 also involves the board waiving the requirement for the construction of sidewalks along Highway 178. There are no sidewalks in the immediate vicinity of this property. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, board? Mr. Wallace?
The existing garage is there, it's only, what, 20 feet from the street anyway, isn't it? Like maybe, or 40 feet, 30 feet?
It's close.
Yes, sir. It's pretty close.
Yeah, so it's not much they can do anyway.
There's nothing.
And a salute to the applicant for wanting to be able to keep the cars back behind the shop area. I know that's been a challenge when you have a lot of cars, and keeping them back is out of sight is a plus.
We look at proposed uses, I guess that's just, is that for parts and cars, kind of junk cars, or is that getting cars in and out that he's working on?
He started, because of capacity issues, I started noticing some cars parked in front, and so I caught his attention to it. That is part of the reason he decided to go out and buy that additional lot, so he could eventually pave and then move those cars and put them behind the fence.
Okay.
So that is part of the reason we,
And that fence will run along that ditch?
along that ditch, yes, sir.
I've been down there recently, and it's people coming in and out. I've been at 5 or 6 customers in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Good for business. Any other questions?
Is there a paved parking lot or gravel or?
It's
kind of rock?
It's kind of gravel over pavement.
That's fine, that's the only question I have.
If no other questions, any motions?
Make a motion to approve.
Collins, motion.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gammage, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of application for a final plat for Olive Branch Logistics Park, Lot 1, submitted by Jarman Pergery, P.E. Kimberly Horn and Associates on behalf of Land Grant LLC. Mark Bolding is the property owner. The request is to subdivide 72.33 plus or minus acres into one 67.88 plus or minus acre lot and one 4.45 plus or minus acres of right-of-way to widen Kirk Road and to extend South Crossroad Drive. The subject property is zoned M1, light industrial, and is located on the south side of Kirk Road, approximately 760 feet east of Polk Lane. Report, please.
Yes, sir, thank you. The board may recall about a month ago you approved a preliminary plat to subdivide 220 acres located on the south side of Kirk Road, just to the east of Polk Lane, into 3 industrial lots and public rights-of-way, as well as a common open space, and that was to be done over 3 development phases. So what we have tonight is the final plat for the first phase of that project, and that's shown about where the yellow line is drawn. And what we have is it's a subdivision of a total property of 72.33 acres, and it's subdivided into Lot 1, which you can see is just under 68 acres in size, and also right-of-way to widen out Kirk Road, about 2.5 acres along its north side, and then to extend South Crossroad Drive on the east side of the property. Just under 2 acres of right-of-way is necessary to do that. And this plan of subdivision matches exactly what you approved in August. You can see this is one of the pages from the preliminary plat, and you can see this crosshatched grade area is what Phase 1 was shown at. You can see the lot, and you can also see the right-of-way dedications as well on that exhibit. Now, the applicant in this case is on a very expedited timeline, and they've submitted to us already civil site plans, and they're showing a 1.2 million square foot facility to be located on Lot 1. And that same civil plan set shows the widening of Kirk Road and also the road plans for the South Crossroad Drive extension. And this is a big industrial subdivision, but subdivision rules are the same whether you're talking about a single-family subdivision or a big industrial subdivision. In single-family, what'll typically happen is you'll build the roads and install the water and sewer first, and then you get your final plat approval and record the final plat, and then get your building permit for the homes that go on there. This is a little bit different in so much that with these big giant construction projects, they're kind of building everything all at the same time. They kind of do their vertical and all their road work because of all of the heavy equipment and everything that they have out on site. So in this case, what they'll do is they're seeking their final plat approval, and they'll want to get that plat recorded to be able to get the building permit, but they'll give our engineering department letters of credit to cover the public improvements, that being the road improvement for South Crossroad or Kirk Road. And that's, again, very typical to these big, large construction projects, and we certainly have our share in Olive Branch. Our Planning Commission did review this at its meeting of September 9th, and by a 7-0 margin did pass a motion recommending approval of this subdivision, and they simply made that subject to the same comments that you approved on August 19th that were associated with the preliminary plat, and those are reprinted on your screen. Number 4 deals with Phase 1, including the widening of the two adjacent Kirk Road and the construction of South Crossroad Drive. And then, again, we've got those civil plans that show everything in there, and condition number 7 talks about getting that letter of credit. And I did want to point out, again, condition number 10, and again, this is from August, where the 3-phase power lines will be overhead in this particular subdivision. And that concludes the staff presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Gambone. Questions? Motion to approve by Mr. Dickerson. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Wallace. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to the weedy lots. I know List A has been cleaned, and I'm understanding that List B has been, some work's been done on those maybe yesterday and today, but this is a public hearing date for consideration and action on a motion declaring the lots that are in yellow to be a menace to public health and safety, and directing the city staff or contract labor to clean these properties. Any
Sir.
update on the yellow ones in yellow?
Yes, sir. I do have a few pictures for you. There's 3 properties, and they're all owned by American Veterans Restoration Franchising, and they're all along Railroad Avenue. And I'll work from southeast to, from the southeast to the northwest side. Property number 1 is 9320, and these were the pictures that were taken when it was put on the list. And there has been some cleanup of this property, some pickup of some debris, and a little bit of mowing on that property. That's not where the major impact has been. Number 2 is the site. It's 9282, and this is the one where the new building is being constructed, and you can see there was a lot of high grass and debris out there. And you can see the pictures that were taken this morning. You can see the Bobcat out there working, doing some grading work, so they've done some cleanup of that high grass that was out there. And this is a construction site, so it is generally dirty. And then this is property number 3, which is a little ways up on Railroad Avenue, 9218. And this is a property where there was a dilapidated home that was removed under the city's property maintenance code. And you could, although all of that house was out of there and all the debris associated with it, you could see how the grass got pretty high in there. And then as of this morning, all of it's been cut down. So what the staff is recommending is that you would not find any of these 3 properties to be a menace. He is proceeding well with the cleanup and moving on with the construction. So I don't think any action is necessary tonight.
Okay. No action required. Thank you, Mr. Gambone. Next item. Under new business, consideration of adoption of resolution of the governing body of the city awarding the sale of the City of Olive Branch, Mississippi General Obligation Public Improvement Bonds, Series 2025, in the aggregate principal amount of $10 million, directing the issuance of such bonds, authorizing the preparation and distribution of a final official statement in connection with said bonds and for related purposes. There was a bond opening this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Any update on that, Mr. Dye?
Yes, sir. We opened bids for the bond issue this afternoon. You have an updated resolution that was included in your brown folders that has all of the bids that were received. There was extraordinarily strong participation among the bidders. There were 10 bids received, which was a lot of interest in the city's bonds. The bidder with the lowest net interest rate was Robert W. Baird and Company, Inc., with a rate of 3.583865. And so the recommendation is to approve the resolution that was included in your brown folders that reflects all those bids, including the recommended bid of Baird and Company. This is, again, just an extraordinarily good rate and good participation, which is a reflection of the strong financial condition of the city of Olive Branch. So the recommendation is to approve the resolution that's in your packets as presented, and we would move forward with the bond issue with a closing at some point in time in October, Mayor, when the funds would be available for the specified projects.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dye. Any questions, board? CFO May, anything else to add? No, sir. Okay, thank you. Questions or motions?
Motion to approve.
Ms. Hamilton, motion to approve. Second, Mr. Earhart. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, DeSoto County Board of Supervisors. You have in your packet, they're building approximately a $4.2 million renovation project rather instead of building. The goal is to build a DeSoto County Crisis Center. It would be a 16-bed unit to house people temporarily who have mental health issues, as well as dependency issues on drugs and alcohol. 16 beds may not seem like a lot. It's probably not. Right now, our citizens, whether it be Olive Branch or anywhere else in the county, has to go, if there's no bed available at the state hospital, they have to go to Corinth or to Oxford, and that space is very limited. Years ago, they were held in jail, and fortunately now there's a 48-hour window that they've got to be released if it's for mental health issues or dependency issues. I'll try to be quick on this, or brief rather, but just a high overview. Mississippi total has received $421 million, or they're going to receive $421 million total by year 2040. The state splits the money between local governments, the county, and the cities. Some counties and cities have used funds. There's no real requirement on what to use it for. Some have used it on fiber optic cables, firefighter suits, police equipment. Some cities have held a public hearing to see how the residents want the money to be used. We have had, Ms. Stewart and I have had a person call, and they feel like their family should have some of the money because their parent was addicted to opioids. So what I'm getting at is there's a lot of different requests for this money. We've had a local treatment center, very reputable, has requested the city to donate some of our funds to them. However, they're a for-profit entity. They're not a 501c3, and the gentleman's been gracious to the city and been a good partner. But at the same time, there are 4 other organizations in this area that would probably step forward and say, why not my organization? Why can't I have some of the money? Because they're working on helping people with dependency problems as well. To date, we've received as a city $225,370 and some change. We have been using it to buy ambulances. We have 5 ambulances, and basically we buy 1 a year to try to keep them current. That's the last thing you want is an ambulance that's not running right and so on and so forth. So the oldest one rotates out, and we buy an ambulance every year. Ambulance costs $280,000, but by the time you equip it with all the equipment needed, it's $370,000 for 1 ambulance. We've been using ours again straight for EMS. We thought that was a decent use of the money because it was lawsuit's intention, I guess, was to try to help the communities in some way due to the opioid crisis, and it comes from about 9 different pharmaceutical outlets that were sued by the state, and the monies should be used, we think, for something along the medical use. Our EMS men and women, they run every day, and although the opioid lawsuit's settled, the crisis still hasn't. I mean, they use Narcan and they bring people back to life on a regular basis. So we thought that was the way it would be used, would be a good way. That's what we've done so far. 13 years left in this payment, so that's part of the challenge. It trickles in. You don't just get one big check. So over 13 years, we're gonna get about an additional $380,000. The lowest year payout's $14,700, and the highest year payout is $39,600. So we approved a balanced budget, I guess last meeting, that included our $36,470 for 2026 going toward an ambulance purchase that the board approved to be purchased. It's not an end all to be all. If the board wants to redirect some of that money to the county, then we'll certainly just have to look for line items that can be cut or deferred to next year or year after if we're going to use that money for the county's request. There's no guarantee that there'll be a bed available when any of our citizens need it, but if there is one available, then it can be used on a short-term basis until they can get in a state hospital or maybe even a private facility in some instances. But the goal is to have somewhere to house people that have dependency problems and mental health crises that can't be at home and shouldn't be housed in jail. So the board has asked the cities to partner with them and share part of our funding with DeSoto County. If I recall correct, one sister city has given part of their money over to the private agency that I'm speaking of to help people with dependency problems, have went that direction. Another city has split 1 year's money, which was about $40,000, half to drug court and half to help the county with this building. So that'd be $20,000 toward a $4.2 million facility. And I don't know what the other cities has done, but I know those two have taken those approaches. If the board wants to go that direction, then a motion and second and vote would be required, I guess, to first have staff draw up an interlocal agreement to work with the county on whatever amount that the board wishes to give, if any.
Do you have a recommendation, Mayor?
I think it's great to be a good partner with the county, and I'm pleased that they're doing some things with the city right now, such as partnering with us on Craft Road. They didn't have to give $2 million out of the $4.5 million. The other 2.5 is ours. They didn't have to do that, so I'm appreciative of it. At the same time, I do know that Olive Branch, the good citizens of Olive Branch and the businesses, send about $27 million a year. Am I close, Mr. May? $26 million a year in ad valorem property taxes just to DeSoto County government, and another 30 or 31 million to DeSoto County schools just by our ad valorem property. That may have increased based on the increased appraisal rate, but roughly 20 million plus goes to the county from the city of Olive Branch residents, property taxes and business taxes. I mean, I believe in being a good partner. I have a little difficulty understanding how that even 20 or 40,000 or 50,000 is a big help for a $4.2 million price tag, but maybe the partnership alone is something the county would appreciate more than the amount of money.
We already collected our money.
We get it each year. We spent it, if you go forward now, it would, unless you redo the budget, it would be 2027 that would give them some money. If you want to alter it now, the rest of it's been spent. Since 2022, we've been getting a little money for ambulances. Yeah. Is that correct? So basically, unless we undo the budget, it'd be 2027, FY27, the money would go to them. And we'd still have to find other monies for the ambulance that we would be buying pretty much one every year.
And the money that we've already got this year is already in the budget. You already got in the budget that we're gonna use. So I don't think we ought to set aside what we got our money already in the budget for just for this. I think we need to look at it again in 2027.
If we're gonna give them the money, if we decide to give the money in 2027, we don't need to make a decision tonight to even do that. We would have to have the interlocal agreement first before we would even designate the money to go to them.
The
So
amount
it's
of
really not much we need to do tonight, is it?
Yeah, just the interlocal agreement direction for that tonight, And I don't know that amount has to be specified unless we know what we're getting in 27.
And I think Alderman Dickerson, correct me if I'm wrong, are you saying that you would not even need the interlocal until the next fiscal year?
Well, no, we can go ahead and do the interlocal agreement now
Understood.
if that's what we want to do, but it would be, definitely understood that it wouldn't be coming until 2027 funds that they would be getting at that point. And then at that point, we could decide how much we want to give and for how long. Because we may not decide we want to give it to them for 5 years and then after that, stop.
Mayor,
That decision can be
27
made at a different point, but we have to have an agreement first to do it.
To do it, that's right. 27, $33,826.38 is what we're projected to receive in 27. But 33,826, about 34,000.
Yeah. I don't understand how, I don't know, 10,000 to help a $4 million project, unless it's
Not
just
much.
as a partnership.
Not much other than the partnership.
I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive, I know everybody up here has been touched by somebody with mental illness.
Yeah.
Or, I don't like the, I guess that's a kind of insensitive way to say it, with things that are challenging to them, I guess. Well, politically correct don't mean a whole lot to me as far as it goes, people need help sometimes.
Yep.
But I don't know,
Well,
16 beds and $10,000 is, I don't know.
Not much.
And 200,000 civilization, civilianship is not, that's not much.
Not much.
I don't think as much question, we probably can't do it this year, or shouldn't, or done a budget. But like Dale, we could do it and just say our intent is to give some amount.
Yet to be determined?
27.
Yeah, maybe.
Can we make it yet to
Don't
be
need to say
determined?
amount.
Mr. Legal?
Mayor Adams, I would add this too, that possibly this line item be added to our donation request every year, since it is kind of donated funds, that would be
Yep.
like we would donate to any other
Just
organization,
like
and
the
we
other
can
causes.
decide each year how much goes to
Yep.
this cause,
Yep.
if any.
Good point. We get a list of 20 requests a year, and this would be one of them after 27.
And Mayor, to your question, in my opinion, if the board is agreeable to commit money and has an interlocal presented to you, that interlocal needs to specify the exact dollar amount that the city's contributing. Otherwise, the interlocal agreement's meaningless. If you don't have the commitment of the city specified in the agreement, then there's no point in having the agreement.
Yeah.
So I think if the direction is for me to bring back an interlocal, my recommendation or my question would be, how much is the board committing?
Would answer your question, Alderman Wallace, if you're going to go that route, I just recommend that you commit the 33,826.38 in 2027, that you commit that money that we're supposed to receive in 27 to the county.
Can we just not agree to give them 1 year, and then after that, we determine whether we want to continue that
That's what I would think.
arrangement or not?
27 would be
We
the,
need to do it for the entire period of time, for 13 years, if we don't, we're binding another board, if we do that 13 years down the road.
and it's hard to see that far ahead. I would think 27 amount only would be what I'd recommend, and take each year as it comes.
Brian, will that work if you have an anticipated amount that we're gonna receive? I don't know if that's an exact amount we're gonna receive or not.
Well, that would work, because we have the projected amount for 27, and what we can put into the agreement is that we would reference that projected amount and say that the final payment would be adjusted to reflect actuals. And so if we received more or less within a parameter, we could certainly, pay that over, have the agreement specify that.
And
I
they
just
al-
don't recommend it be open-ended.
Committing all of it for 27? Is that what y'all saying?
I think we could find another 33,000 somewhere else to help fund the ambulance in 27. I think if you're gonna give anything, I think that 34,000 is probably reasonable. It's very minor compared to 4.2 million, but anything less would be even
Brian,
worse.
would you put in a anticipated amount not to exceed 35?
Correct.
Well, they're planning on building this project no matter whether we give them any money or not.
Correct.
They were opening bids today, as I understand it, so if they're
Yep.
gonna open the bids and go ahead and contract the building and everything to be done, and it's just, I guess we're just saying, okay, we're gonna help you a little bit what we can. Is all we're doing.
I think that's
Maybe this would be taken as a good faith.
good faith partnership, I think. Again, the county's helping with Craft Road expansion, and the county on their own has done Nail Road extension, over off Bethel, and first mile they did, I think was around $11 million or thereabout. And what they're doing now, going all the way to Center Hill, is probably another $10 to $11 million. And about 60% of that area is in the city, and about 40% is in the county. So they stepping up and doing that for us, which is positive.
How often does the county actually ask for help from the city?
Not much, not much.
Do we ask more than they do? I would assume yes.
It depends on the climate. Sometimes we ask, depends on the climate, but it's a difficult to answer, I think. We haven't asked a lot out of them, but they do help us occasionally.
Do we need a motion and a second to do that?
To do the,
I think it would be helpful, since even though this is not the final interlocal, it is it's a preliminary financial commitment, is what I'd call it. So I think it would probably be helpful, Mayor, for the minutes, and helpful for you in communicating with the county if the board did reduce this to a vote.
All right, I'll make a motion for, city attorney to bring back an interlocal agreement to designate 2027 funds to this project for us to vote on.
motion's on the table.
Mayor, would you repeat the motion?
The motion, if I understood Ms. Dixon right, to donate our 2027 amount, and that amount only, to give Mr. Dye direction to draft up an interlocal agreement to reflect that for next year only, and take it each year thereafter, a year at a time.
Should we set a ceiling in that, not to exceed?
I'll include that in the draft agreement. You'll have an opportunity to vote up or down on the draft agreement we bring back, but if the projection is 34,700, I would probably put the 27 projected amount not to exceed X. And, to take your suggestion on capping that at 35 if the projection is 34 something.
Okay.
But you'll have an opportunity to approve or not approve that as fine-tuned in the agreement that I bring back to you.
Okay.
I'll second.
You have a
Okay.
motion from Dickerson?
Motion from Dixon, a second from Hamilton. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of recommendation to approve change order number 1 on contract with W&T Contracting Company Corporation in the deductive amount of $40,220.13, decreasing the contract amount from $1,962,217.91 to $1,921,997.78 for the project referred to as the Lick Creek Interceptor Sewer Project. Mr. Swins?
So our sewer project, the Lick Creek project north of the soccer fields that runs from 305 over to the Ross Road plant is essentially complete. We did a walkthrough of the project. That's why we have this deductive amount of $40,220 that took out some of the items that we didn't need, and we added a few things. So we are essentially complete. I think probably the only thing we have left is retainage, and the project went pretty good, and so we're recommending that we approve this as written.
Thank you. Any questions or motions on that?
Motion to approve.
Wallace, motion to approve. Second, Ms. Aldridge. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to leave leave regular session with the intentions of going into executive session? Collins, motion. Hamilton, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to go in executive session to discuss personnel matters in the police department, personnel matters in the gas maintenance department, personnel matters in the street department, personnel matter in the fire department, and discussion with city attorney regarding transaction of business? Is there a motion to go in executive session for those 5 items?
So moved.
Earhart motion, second Wallace. All in favor? All opposed? We are in executive session.